Unit 2, Reading 1.
Tech detectives. Police detectives have always made use of the latest technologies to solve crimes. As 3 cases show, modern technology can help scientists and detectives understand and solve mysteries both from the present and from the past. A robbery case in Australia. When most people think of leeches, they imagine disgusting, blood-sucking worms that they would prefer to avoid. However, leeches can actually be useful. In fact, in 2009, detectives in Australia were able to use a leech to solve an 8-year-old robbery case. In 2001, 2 men robbed a 71-year-old woman in her home in the woods in Tasmania, stealing several $100s. The men escaped, but soon after, detectives investigating the crime scene found a leech filled with blood. The detectives thought that the leech could have attached itself to one of the robbers in the woods. It might have sucked the robber's blood while he was traveling through the woods and then fallen off during the robbery. The detectives extracted some DNA from the blood in the leech and kept it in their database. 8 years later, police arrested a suspect on an unrelated drug charge. As part of his examination, his DNA was analyzed and it matched that taken from the leech. This proved that the suspect was at the scene of the crime. After the police questioned him, the suspect eventually admitted to committing the 2001 robbery. A murder case in Arizona. The first conviction based on plant DNA evidence occurred in the state of Arizona in the United States. When a murder was committed in 1992 in the state capital, Phoenix, police found a pager at the scene of the crime that led them to a suspect. The suspect admitted to giving the victim a ride in his truck, but denied any wrongdoing. In fact, he claimed that she had actually robbed him, which is why his pager was found at the crime scene. Forensic investigators examined his truck and found seed pods, which were later identified as the fruits of the Palo Verde tree. And indeed, a Palo Verde tree at the scene of the crime looked like a truck might have hit it. However, this evidence alone was not enough. An investigator wondered if it was possible to link the exact tree at the crime scene with the seed pods found on the truck. A geneticist at the University of Arizona in Tucson showed that it was. Individual plants, in this case Palo Verde trees, have unique patterns of DNA. Through DNA analysis of the seed pods, the geneticist determined that its DNA matched the one on the truck. This proved that the truck had definitely been to the crime scene and had collided with one specific tree, thus contradicting the suspect's story. With this information, it was possible to convict the suspect of the crime. A body in the mountains. Europe's oldest mummy, now known as the Iceman, was discovered by hikers in the frozen ice of the Italian Alps in 1991. Scientists believe he lived about 5,300 years ago in an area north of what is now Bolzano, Italy. Wounds on the Iceman's body clearly show that he died a violent death, but CT imaging technology has helped scientists piece together even more clues about the life and death of this ancient Neolithic human. CT imaging identified an arrowhead buried in the Iceman's left shoulder, indicating that he was shot from behind. Scientists also discovered a wound on one of his hands. This told them that he had likely been in a fight and that his enemies later chased after and killed him. While this may be true, close analysis of this hand injury shows that the wound was already beginning to heal at the time of his death, so it is unlikely he injured his hand in his final days. Moreover, a later study of the CT images revealed that the Iceman had a full stomach at the time he was killed. This meant that he ate a big meal immediately before his death, not something a person would do if enemies were chasing him. Scientists guess that the Iceman might have been resting after a meal when enemies attacked him from behind. Perhaps the most likely explanation is that the Iceman was fleeing an earlier battle but thought he was safe at the moment of his murder. Scientists continue to analyze the Iceman using the latest technology to find more clues to history's oldest murder mystery.